vote, but you can certainly, you can be an ex officio member.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna come to him anyway.
That's right, it's gonna come back to the full commission anyway. Judy, I commend you and Kayla for all your work on those minutes.
Yes. You and,
Oh my gosh.
you and
You know,
Kayla.
for future, I'm not sure you need to be quite so detailed, but I commend you and thank you for
Hey.
your efforts.
So,
Kayla started, like, she did the initial draft, she did the hard work. I just listened to 2 hours on 1.5 speed.
Bless you.
Man,
I
that
think
is-
all you really need is just a summary of what we discussed. You have to do all the action, I guess, but
I will be more
having done it,
summary- I will be more summary in my own comments in the future so that I don't have to re-summarize my
you did a great job.
well, I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your efforts. I could tell it took a long time.
It was a tough one.
I got a couple of little minor corrections on there.
John, I just spent an hour with your wife.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought her here.
I'm exhausted. Here she is. I haven't done it.
She thought we were going to the town pump and we'd have these meetings. I had to bring her here to show that we were really doing something. Good morning, good afternoon.
I know, I keep saying good morning because I'm used to being here.
Ought to be one.
Does anyone need an agenda?
Got it.
Do you have your packet?
She didn't think she was gonna be here.
Kayla, this is my wife, Dora.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Kayla's actually in charge. We just,
It's just because I'm really loud.
no. Yes, she does.
I'm glad someone thinks so.
You just missed Dan's accolades for you and for Julie for the minutes that you sent out. They were great. We appreciate it, both of y'all.
I was just saying, in future, I don't know that you need to make them so lengthy, but I commend you for your time and effort and energy.
It was a lot.
She was preparing for you, Dan, because she knew that Dan would say, well, I can remember we said this, but it's not in the minutes.
But you have to send it to Mason Blake for
Oh,
final.
yeah.
I'm a nitpicker on stuff. Minutes I can go in a summary. Yeah, I didn't want to get into word with that. I took it for what it was worth. I do have a couple of minor corrections.
Angie, what was that picture of that lake? That was a beautiful picture.
Because like the four of us here, the votes were 3-0 3 or 4 times. I thought the four of us here.
We'll go through it.
These four right here. And everybody was there. You were here. So every time we voted.
Were there 4? Did
you
I
have-
put
you
3?
have 2 or 3 places that says 3-0, and I think it should be 4.
4. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's all I have.
I mean, if that's it.
Oh, he's just started.
It took it.
No.
That's page
I
1.
put it off. I put it off for a while. I didn't want to do them.
I thought it was pretty quick.
I really didn't want to do them. Just to be honest.
Do the minutes have to be so thorough and detailed? I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong.
They're
with it.
really not, this is actually condensed, like a lot. Yeah, I mean, typically, like, the minutes I do for Hillside are two-sided.
So you discuss this, discuss that.
Right, it just happened to be that this was so long, so.
Okay.
We need to wait till Angie's got it recording, because,
But don't look at me. This is not my skill set back here. Okay, talk.
No,
well,
we
wait,
don't-
are you ready?
Just talk amongst yourselves for just a second.
You don't like the quietness either.
No, no.
We went to April, we went to Florida.
Oh, you're gonna clear pen.
So on the old friends that phone, being 60 lawyers, can you imagine how bad it was to be 60 lawyers?
I can't imagine. Who was in charge of keeping that crowd in line?
You know, Clay Hughes, they've got a place up there, Clay Hughes in the US.
I don't think I do.
They own a lot of that. He's the best.
is the manager department, so he would have to corral all those cats. He had to herd those cats out.
We had 4 speakers that was really kind of neat. Giving us things to do about leadership and choosing how to be a lawyer.
If you hadn't learned yet, it might be too late for you.
That's what they keep telling me. I haven't learned. So Dan, is this gonna be a long meeting at 4 for the talk?
It's always no, I usually try to end it by 5 every time. Yeah, yeah, so it should be there. Talking about that.
That's the, is it the church?
Mary Donnelly's talk
Oh, tonight?
tonight.
Yeah.
Bill's somebody's gonna come. It's gonna be interesting how many questions she got. She asked people to submit questions in advance. I hope they got some good questions.
She's good. Have you ever been to any of her talks?
It's so,
Very, very,
yeah, this one's gonna be interesting because she usually has prepared talk the first 5. She did 3 last year, doing 3 this year. And, but this one, she was just gonna do Q&A and ask people to submit questions in advance. She may summarize. Yeah.
I think the topic tonight is end of life.
Everybody, we are ready.
Okay? End of life and Q&A. We want to welcome everybody to the Sign Ordinance Subcommittee of the Planning and Zoning Committee. Welcome our guest. Yes. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Got a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You have before you the draft of the minutes from our last meeting. Hope you had a chance to review these, and if there are no additions or corrections, do I hear a motion that they be approved as submitted?
I have a couple of corrections, Mr. Chairman.
Okay?
There are several places, I think 1, 2, maybe only 2 places where there was a motion, for example, the organization of the committee, and the vote was signified as 3-0. I think there were actually 4 of us present at that meeting, so I think it should be 4-0 in those places.
Okay?
The second one I had is just some wordsmithing in that paragraph entitled Organization of Subcommittee. It says Dan Dean motion to keep the re-elect current composition of officers. I don't know, it should be, I guess we could just delete re-elect. So Dan Dean motioned, I like the word moved, but motion's okay. Motion to keep the current composition. So just delete the word re-elect. You follow me there, Kayla?
Mm-hmm, gotcha.
And then the only other thing I had was, I thought there was one more. Oh, I know, on the bottom of page 2, the next to the last line, where it said, well, it goes back to the beginning of the sentence, said, D. Christina shared that she was instructed to defer any action or signs which were potentially non-compliant with current ordinances until the Superior Court. I suggest we change that word. I'm not sure exactly what you said, but it's really until the courts have decided it, because the Superior Court has finished. It's now in the Court of Appeals. So I think if you just change that word Superior Court to courts,
Capitalized?
I wouldn't capitalize it.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay?
And with those corrections, I would move for approval.
Okay, we have several corrections. I need a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes as corrected.
I move that we approve the minutes as corrected.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, passed. Old business, as we've all said before we came in, we hope this is our last meeting. So let's pick up where we left off last week.
So can I just jump us back? And I apologize because I meant to write down what I needed y'all to do based on what we worked on last time.
It would be helpful to me if maybe we just kind of went back through it again, John, the one where the corrections are, just make
Right.
sure we're all in in agreement with the correction we've already made, and if any further changes, we can almost do a page by page pretty quickly, I think, till we get to the sticking point.
Yeah. Are you on board with that, Kayla?
Yeah, so what I was going to point out is when I was listening to the minutes, you guys had already adopted the changes that were made before the last meeting. But then, because we worked on a bunch of stuff, I don't think that all of it got adopted. And I'm trying to find where exactly the piece that was adopted.
If we go
Was.
back through all of that, and just, we could approve them as we go, or
Yeah.
approve them all at one time,
You could just do it all at one time.
right at the end.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So we're going to just start with Article 800.
Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I was just gonna do the one she sent.
Oh,
out.
just the one, okay.
Yeah, just kind of go through page by page.
Okay.
You got one change on that first page, and then you skip way.
So we're doing on 201 definitions.
Yep. Starts with that.
Okay, Dan, you,
Yeah, and I think that banner, I think we approved that, and it's just got it in there, and I'm okay with it as written.
okay.
Then I guess
Page 2,
nothing on there.
nothing.
I think you really go all the way to page 8, I think, before it's the next change.
Okay. Other temporary signs.
The only question I would raise about this, I have no problem with the definition, is just, and I think I mentioned this last time, and I don't have any strong feelings either way, just throw it out if anybody wants to bring it up again. Having this other temporary sign, which is the definition, but I just wonder how many people would look into O's if we're talking about signs. I don't know if you could put sign, comma, other temporary or something like that. That's just a thought. But I'm okay with the definition. It is definitely other temporary signs. It's just by locating in the O's. I guess you could,
That's a good point. We might want to move it.
I don't know. Any thoughts, Sally, Bill, anybody?
I wouldn't look it up under O.
Yeah. Of course, I guess if you're reading the ordinance and it says other temporary signs in capital letters, you might go look at it that way. I'm just not sure where it would logically fall,
Could we put it under signs, temporary others?
or other.
Yeah.
Or other temporary,
Other
other
temporary.
temporary.
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
okay.
Julie, you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, on page 9, John, this is something that's been troubling me for a while, and I wrestled with it since our last meeting, and I've got a suggestion. And it's on page 9, the last definition of the word sign, which we're just talking about, and we add one to it. The very last sentence says, "This definition shall not include the flag, badge, or insignia of any governmental unit." And then it says, see Article 8. The thing that I think it troubles me a little bit about that is that seems a little, not sure what the right word is, disingenuous to say that a definition doesn't include something. If you do that, it seems to me you're opening up the door to any flag of any size, of any type, of any location, anywhere, because we're saying a flag is not a sign, but it is a form of sign. So I think I would prefer to delete that last sentence. Just leave sign as it is and not exclude or include anything else, but excluding a term is what troubles me. And then just have over in section 804, the section dealing with signs allowed without a permit, put flag over there so that you could have a flag, be it an American flag or Ukrainian flag or whatever your favorite country is, for whatever purpose, you could have it, but it just would not require a permit. But it would be controlled in some way as far as location, size, so forth.
And then do we need a new definition that uses that sign?
Well, and when you get over to it, I was going to propose, and I've got a proposed definition to insert at 804.9, and I was going to call it governmental flags. And I quickly drew this down, and I'm subject to a lot of criticism and changes. Flags of the United States, comma, its various states, comma, foreign countries, and other governmental agencies and units may be displayed according to the following provisions. 1, they must be located on the property of the owner or with permission of the owner. B, they must not exceed 8 square feet in area. C, they must be replaced or removed if they become tattered or worn. It could be. The only reason I'm doing it, it was treated separately and specially for flags to make sure they kind of get some special treatment. And so I'm saying we can do that, but I didn't like the way it was done by just saying it's not included in the definition. I mean, and it might fall under other temporary signs. But if we want to treat it specifically and specially, that would be my suggestion, that it be treated
So
there.
you want to move the last sentence?
I want to
of the
delete that.
signs on 9 over,
I just say delete that.
delete it in its entirety and not even talk about the governmental signs?
Well, I'm saying to add a new definition for governmental,
That's what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
want to just delete it and move it?
yeah.
Add it over on
Delete
page.
delete that sentence that says this definition shall not include.
Okay. Sally? Julie?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
And whether we include another, I think Kayla raises a good question. It's possible it would be included under other temporary signs anyway without having it singled out as a separate
Let's
definition.
delete that, and Kayla.
But you could make that argument for a lot of the special things that we single out.
Okay.
They probably are other temporary signs, but we give special treatment to election signs, residential nameplate signs, construction signs. Technically,
Right.
all of those might fit under other. It's just a question of somebody's looking and saying, well, can I display a flag?
I think flags are gonna be more than 4 square feet.
Yep.
I don't think it fits under,
What did I say?
well,
I said 8 square feet.
it would have to, oh, I'm sorry.
8.
Hey,
The standard flag, I think I've already measured ours. I hope I measured it correctly. Pardon?
Where are you saying it could?
Under 804.9, a new section right before other temporary signs.
okay.
It would
But
be
would you,
election signs.
let me ask this. So we know that, you know, when we're talking about temporary signs, it's something that can be removed. So we know that there's a conflict, but if we were to put these American flag, whatever, under other temporary signs, we know that that would conflict with the size limitation. Is there anything else under 804.9 that type of sign that those flags would conflict with?
Might
And that's
conflict
it,
with
that
the-
you guys read in here.
It might conflict with the length of time. I'm not putting any length of time, so I hope we wouldn't put a length of time. 'cause I have
If
American-
any, right? Because we
Pardon?
have that if any language in there, so I don't think it would apply to that.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, we fly an American flag in front of our house 365
Right.
days out of the year. And I think a lot of people do. And so I didn't want to limit that or create a conflict with
You're
that.
talking it would be a new 804.9, and the current 804.9 would become 804.10.
Correct, correct.
So it wouldn't be subject
No,
to
no,
the clauses under 804.9.
correct.
I think that would solve the problem.
Just as election signs and residential nameplate signs are the same one, all those up above 1 through 8 are singled out. I'm just singling out American government flags as
Right.
well.
But what's the right term for it though? Because we have exempt signs, which are governmental agency signs. We have election signs.
Yep. I'm just calling them governmental flags
It's a separate item.
as a separate item.
Is your flags and banners?
Well, banners are,
Badge and insignia.
yeah, and I wasn't sure what that meant, to be honest. It previously said flag, badge, or insignia of any governmental unit.
It could be like a crest. I can see like if there's a state crest of some kind, that might be considered an insignia.
Yeah, I was specifically addressing flags. I I wasn't sure what that could be, right, if that comes up enough to worry about it, Bill. I wasn't sure what badge or insignia meant. I was trying to address specifically the governmental flags. And it just seemed to me, removing it from the definition, it's probably still want to have a little control over them, don't want anybody to fly on one
I
that's,
tell you what, hold that in abeyance, and since and let's back up to page 16 and catch up where we were, and then we'll move forward to,
well, I've got a couple more between now and,
okay. Oh,
between 9 and 16, if
Okay,
you want to
go
take them
ahead.
in order.
Well, I'm just taking a minute to look at my notes because I have them like up here. And I just want to, if you guys will give me like 1 second, I just want to look and see if anybody else explicitly calls out. I don't want to use the word governmental, but I mean, you know, like an American flag or something.
Or the North Carolina flag.
Yeah, like state flags.
Well, and you know,
Can we
you could have a
pause?
flag that says, celebrate spring, I guess.
Right,
But I think that would fall under temporary.
right.
I was just trying to, since I was removing something that somebody somewhere along the line thought should be addressed, I was just trying to address it in what I thought was a better way than just saying it's not included in that
We need
definition.
to address it, we don't want to inadvertently prohibit.
No, of course not.
I mean, I will say that, well, here, I guess. Yeah, I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. Yeah, can we maybe just pause on this one and just know that that's something that's outstanding?
Well, and the main reason I'm bringing it up is I don't know why it always troubled me when I saw that they said, this definition shall not include the flag, badge, or insignia of any governmental unit. And I was thinking, whatever, the flag for sure of any governmental unit is not included in definitions, so it's not covered by the zoning ordinance, the sign ordinance, I mean. So we just removed it from the definition of a sign, so there's no way it's controlled. So I suppose I could put I mean, imagine the worst. Huge sign in a right-of-way,
Yeah.
or on public property, or on your property. I mean, there's nothing prohibiting it if it's eliminated from the whole definition of sign. It's not controlled at all. And you can imagine objectionable signs, which that gets into content, I'm sure, but even the size, location, and time could be completely violated, and you don't have any way to enforce it because it's been removed from the whole definition of a sign. I just didn't like that.
Can we, like, just put a pin in that for right now, and I'll make a note of it? I want to think more on that. I don't have, like, a response right now, because I don't want to get, like, too much into the content of it, but I know that, like, that, because the definition called it out, like, I don't have a response right now. And I want to think about that one.
Yeah, I don't think we get
More.
into content. We're just saying it's any governmental flag. I guess you could get into content on that.
But then, but if it's governmental flag, then how is it different from governmental agency sign?
Well, if you read it, they are different.
Yeah.
I mean, it talks about,
Yep.
that's direction signs and, I can't remember where they are now. Where is that governmental agency sign? 803.1. Yes, it specifically talks about traffic signs, wayfaring signs. I don't think that applies to governmental flags. And again, I started from the standpoint it was already in there, and I just thought
Right.
it should be moved and clarified.
But those are also ones erected by,
Yes.
so that means then that support the frame signs, whatever,
Which one you talking about now? 803?
or the definition of 803.1 government agency signs.
Yeah, I don't think it fit under there. Yeah, so it wouldn't.
Right, so since it's excluded, it's not prohibited
Or regulated in any way, shape, or
Or
form.
regulated.
regulated.
Yeah.
So it would be primarily the signs and the placement, because that's how we retool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's why I asked, like, what other pieces under 804.9 would conflict. So I know we said the size for it would be larger. Those types of flags are larger than 4 square feet. I guess what other ones in here would conflict? 2 feet from paved or traveled portion of the road. I mean, the time limit wouldn't apply.
Well, I put in there they had to be located on the property of the owner or with permission of the owner.
Yep. Yeah, that one.
Is there a scenario in which we want to limit the count?
The number of signs?
Well,
flags.
right now, 804.95 says one such sign per lot frontage is allowed.
Yep.
We wouldn't be endeavoring to say you have to choose the American
Flag or,
Carolina flag.
right.
Or Yay Spring. So, you know, we would probably not, it would not be typical in the community to have 10 American flags posted somewhere.
I didn't limit the number.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that.
Unless you go past
Well,
Except on July 4th, they.
you mean you
people
wouldn't,
have all over the yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to think more on this. I don't have an answer on this right now. And I'd rather see how other communities are doing this, specifically with respect to that type of flag.
You just want to meet with us more.
Yep,
Well, we already are addressing flags separately, you know.
right.
I'm just saying let's address it a better way. It's not like I'm proposing anything new. We've already got that elimination.
And you said you had some other corrections before we got to page 13?
Yep. Let's see, I'll make sure that was 8 where we were.
Should be on page 10.
Okay, I mean, on page, where we were was on page 9. 10's okay, 11's okay, 12, 13, 14 I had. On page 14, 802.2. I've noticed where this 802.2 says any freestanding sign. This is very picky, but I noticed somewhere else, and I couldn't find it real quickly when I was trying to look it up the other night. I want to say it might have been in the town attorney's wording. Instead of freestanding, she called it ground mounted. Is there any difference between a ground mounted sign and freestanding? We're okay with? I just have a question. Freestanding
So we
is fine.
have 805.21 says ground or freestanding sign.
Ground mounted or freestanding?
Ground
It just says ground.
or freestanding sign.
What is a ground sign?
805.21. And then it says for each principal building on a lot, one ground sign not to exceed the following surface area limitations, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know what a ground sign is. I know what a ground mounted sign is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, that was just a
We
question
can,
about
we can change.
consistency.
Yeah, we could change, we could just go with ground mounted as the, this is what we're
Okay.
gonna
Well,
use.
then we change freestanding to ground mounted, and continuing on, it says any ground mounted sign located in a street right of way, projecting over into a street right of way. I would suggest that any sign located on public property, comma, in a street right of way, comma, or projecting over a street. Just add the public property, if it's a park or playground or public parking lot or anything else.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
I'm on 802.2, signs in street right of way.
Yeah.
And that's all it's limited to, and that may be all we want to limit it to, because maybe I had to change the title. I was suggesting, instead of just street right of way, what about public property? Unless the town wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the town may want to do it. Okay, let's delete
Yeah,
that.
I would say no.
All right, just change freestanding to ground mounted, and then I suggest deleting the last sentence.
one house number and or nameplate.
Shall be permission for each dwelling. Why is that in signs and street right of way, number 1? And
Oh,
number
that's
2
a
is
good
covered very
question.
thoroughly in 804.6 and 804.7. I don't know how that got in there. It just seems to me it's
Yeah, that's fine.
totally in
I don't
the
know
wrong
why
place.
that's there.
Are you going to delete the last sentence?
Yeah, it just doesn't have anything to do with signs and street right of way. I guess you could call it a street number sign. It's in the right of way. But
And-
it's addressed very thoroughly in the 804.6 and 804.7.
Okay.
So I'd
I guess
suggest
it's saying that,
an exception to that prohibition.
yeah, would be one house number and or nameplate shall be allowed in the street right of way for each dwelling, is how I read that.
Well, you could, if you go back to 802.2, where it says any freestanding sign located in a street right of way or projecting over into a street right of way.
Is
You
prohibited.
could put except as permitted in 804.6 or 804.7.
Let me read those. 804.6 and 804.7.
Yes.
I don't really read in here that it provides for I don't really read in 804.6 or 804.7 that it provides for the house number signs or nameplates to be located in the right of way.
Which one now?
I'm sorry?
Um,
Yeah, so I heard you say, Dan, that 802.2 could possibly read any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way except for as allowed by 804.6 and 804.7. But I don't read in 804.6 or 804.7 that the signs are allowed in the right-of-way. I read in that the address number shall be placed so it's identified easily from the road. It must be displayed on the front of a building or at the entrance to a building where it's most clearly visible from the street. If a building's more than 75 feet from any road, address number shall be displayed at the end of the driveway or easement nearest the road. So I don't see in there where it says that it's allowed to be in the right-of-way.
Well, you may be right. I'm looking at it too. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the location of them, I guess, is what you're saying.
Yeah, in respect to the right-of-way.
Right, I understand. I follow you.
So we could have it say, because I agree with you, I think it's confusing. I think the way it's written is weird. We could have it say any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a right-of-way except for
One house number and or name plate shall be
for
permissible
each
for each
dwelling, yeah. Or shall be allowed for each dwelling.
And I guess then it gets into the question of, do you want to have any control over where somebody can place a house number sign or a name plate? Or they just have, like, it has to be approved by the zoning administrator, for example? Otherwise, they just might place it anywhere they want to, and it could be in a...
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and no, so freestanding sign. So 801.6 says no projecting portion of any freestanding sign may be located closer than 2 feet to any vehicular or pedestrian travel way. For purposes of this ordinance, house numbers and nameplates shall be exempt from this setback requirement.
So they could be placed closer than 2 feet.
Yeah, so maybe we reference 801.6 then? Say any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way except for one house number and or nameplate
Shall
for
be-
each dwelling in accordance with 801.6? Or is that too much?
Well, the only thing that kind of raises a further question. I think that's a good idea, but it still raises the question about, we're saying they can be placed pretty much anywhere. Follow me?
Yep.
We're saying they can be placed within 2 feet of the road.
But then go back to 802.1. signs constituting traffic hazards. You can't put your
That's true.
house sign,
Okay.
like, you're like, you know, I
Yep.
came to the moon and put my house sign on it, you know?
Yep.
So,
Well, I'm okay with that. So what we're saying is,
I would say.
read 802.2 the way you proposed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way except, or, you know, however we can wordsmith this.
That's fine.
Except for one house number and/or nameplate for each dwelling.
Shall be permissible for each dwelling.
You want to keep that, yeah, okay, so except for one house number and/or nameplate shall be permissible for each dwelling in accordance with, or
That's
subject to 801.6,
In accordance with,
in accordance with.
I think that's fine.
Okay, so let me read it back just one more time. Any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way except for one house number and/or nameplate shall be permissible for each dwelling in accordance with 801.6.
And then 801.6 says no protection portion.
That they're exempt from the setback requirement.
But does that, and then,
Or, well, hang on.
but you were pointing out that
Prohibited.
they still can't, what was the one that said they couldn't block traffic or?
802.1.
802.1.
So this one's like weird. So it's saying these are prohibited.
Yep.
So any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way projecting is prohibited, except for one house number and/or nameplate for each dwelling.
Should we just say otherwise compliant with this?
Then I think we reference the traffic hazard one. Subject to 802.1. I don't think we need to reference 801.6.
I think you're right.
I think, so what was it, subject to? Subject to?
Yeah, 802.1.
Okay, let me read it one more time. Any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way except for one house number and/or nameplate shall be permissible for each dwelling, subject to 802.1.
I like that.
Good?
I'm okay with
all
that.
right, good. Okay, we'll keep going.
All right. The next, on that same page, down at the very bottom, 802.7, posted signs, and this again is under prohibited signs, so we're listing prohibited signs. And it says any sign posted to utility poles, trees, fences, et cetera. Right after the word utility poles, I propose inserting in parentheses, except as permitted in section 807, which is the section of where you can put signs on utility poles if you jump through a bunch of hoops. Except as, in parentheses, except as permitted in section 807. Would be right after utility poles.
And then close parentheses, comma,
Yes.
trees, fences, and other signs.
Then pick up with trees, fences, rocks, and other signs.
And I have used this before, this section. I went out with a hammer and had to pull signs off of a utility pole.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
So if you ever see me around town doing something weird.
Well, I think that's good. And then, continuing on 14, where it says, the second sentence, honorarium signs meeting requirements 802.5.25 are not permitted under this section. House number nameplate signs meeting the requirements of, and it says 804.7, and let me make sure,
He's
still in
on
that same section we were just in.
802.7, but it
802.7, the
continues.
second paragraph,
On to-
second
yeah.
sentence. It carries over to the next page. And it says 804.7, and I was suggesting, since we're talking about house number and nameplate, it should be 804.6 and 804.7.
Agreed. Section 804.6 and 804.7, or just
That's-
804.
Yeah, I think it's good, yeah.
Section, okay.
Yeah, although earlier in that same sentence, we've only got 805.25, we don't have section.
We can add section.
Yep, probably should say section. 15, 16, I had nothing. And back to, I'm over to 17 now, which is kind of where we left off last time
Yep.
in my notes. If we're not going to do that 804.9, then we're down to the current 804.9. And I have a few suggestions there. 804.91, as corrected, looking at the version that's got the blue type, that's what I'm reading from, the one that Kayla sent out. It says, such signs shall be no larger than 4 square feet of surface area per side. And then if you look further on down, 804.96 says such signs shall not exceed 3 feet in height. I just propose combining those two just for simplicity.
So would you say such
Just-
sign shall be no larger square feet of surface area per side and,
comma, and shall not exceed 3 feet in height.
and,
I think it should be an or, because it could be one or the other, instead of having both.
no, I think it's both, Bill, because
We're saying it shall
four
be no
square
larger.
feet is the sign face. So if you go to, section,
Yeah, I think we've got to comply with both of them. I think it's.
if you go to section, 801, wait. Sign height shall be street purpose, signs located at
In other words,
average
it
grade.
can't exceed 4 square feet, and it cannot be.
Yeah, so it's like, that's the sign face is 4 square feet, but then it
It has to
can't,
meet both those requirements.
yeah,
So it can be, if it's more than 4 square feet,
it's not a
You can't
temporary
place- you can't
sign.
place it, no matter how high it is.
then why shouldn't it be or? Because it's never going to be both.
No, Bill, so the 4 square feet is the sign face. So that's like, when you have those little H signs, that's this part. The
So-
height is from the ground to the top of the sign. So you're not counting that in the area. It's surface area per side.
In other words, the sign could be 2 by 2,
And be
Yeah.
right on the ground,
but
right?
you can't put it on a 10-foot pole.
Exactly. But if you were to say, I don't know how the or would work, but yeah, like you can't have a 4 square foot sign on a 10-foot pole. You can have a 1 foot high sign that's 4 feet long or something. You know, you could do that, but it's both.
Right.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And then my next one,
Wait. And shall not exceed
3 feet in height, just exactly where 804.96 is
Exceed.
worded, and then we'll delete 804.96
3 feet in height, and then delete this.
and semicolon after height.
Height, and then change, okay.
Then 804.93, the word such was deleted, and I don't think it should be, because all the other sentences are reading such sign, such sign, such sign, so I think you need to
Oh.
leave the word such.
Such.
Signs shall be placed no earlier than 15 days for the event, if any. 804.95,
Before that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
804.94, is there an extra space after conclusion of the agenda?
Yep,
Yep.
thank you.
804.95 is worded a little awkwardly to me. It says one such sign per lot frontage is allowed. I would suggest inserting the word only, so it reads, only one such sign shall be allowed per lot frontage.
And before we wordsmith it, can I just ask why we think it's important that people with double frontage have the ability to have double signs?
I think it's just a good question, but I guess because it's like they have 2 yards, so to speak, facing the street. But I even have in my parentheses, 1 seems pretty limiting. Do we want to limit it to 1? For 1, whether you have 1 street or 2 streets? That's another question I'm throwing out.
It's pretty typical when people have like double frontage lots or corner lots, or their lot has 3 roads on it for each of the street frontages to kind of count as a front. So it's kind of typical for them to have that option.
I get that, and I'm not really focused on this one way or the other.
Yeah, and the permitted signs as well, I believe, are based off of frontage. Yeah, per street frontage.
And we would say if somebody has, so that we would, are they required to have their address nameplates on each frontage?
I mean, I think for purposes of emergency services, probably. But yeah, I mean, for the permanent signs, we allow one per lot frontage, which again is really common. And keep in mind, they're 4 square feet signs, so, you know, and we're limiting one.
Right.
Yeah, I was just, where it says is allowed, I was just suggesting changing that first sentence to read only one such sign, delete the S, shall be allowed per lot frontage, period.
And then we deleted 804.9.
Delete 804.96, the new 804.96, I suggest rewording it as well, just be similar to one up above, but
Yep.
to say such signs, and I would suggest deleting under this section may be any material provided such signs. That's covered in the definition of sign about material and what kind of material and definition. I don't know why it needs to say may be any material.
So you would have it read, such
So
sign
read such signs must be removed.
must be.
And I have some concern about prior to becoming. How do you anticipate when a sign is going to become and say you delete it right 1 minute before it starts deteriorating? I would suggest that must be removed if they become torn, tattered, or otherwise. Yeah. But it'd be after they become, as soon as they become, or yeah, promptly, whatever, must be promptly removed if they become torn, tattered, or otherwise deteriorated.
If they become,
So
Yeah.
it would read, such signs must be removed promptly if they become torn, tattered, or otherwise deteriorated. And then
can you pause for 1 second,
Sure.
Dan? Notice must be repaired, maintained, or removed. Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. They just have to be removed.
Is there also, maybe it's now it's fixed, is there a missing comma? Like, how is 804.97?
Oh, hang on, I'm still on 804.96.
which was former 804.97. You know, if you're talking about the same one, Judith,
Okay, I'm talking about the new 804.96.
which is the former 80.
Yeah, that's when we're on.
Yeah, okay.
So this is about the material, or?
That was deleted
Yeah,
material.
so such signs, this is how it reads, right? Such signs must be removed if they become torn, tattered, or otherwise deteriorated?
Promptly, removed promptly.
Must be removed. Okay, and then Julie, where did you think the comma was missing?
It's not missing anymore, but that phrase is.
Oh, okay, all right, so, good on that one? Okay,
804.97, I would suggest to be consistent with the other ones, such signs must, rather than shall, be located entirely on the property to which they pertain, and I would say, and with the consent of the property owner. The way it reads, it says must be located entirely on the property to which they pertain or on private property. Well, I think they can only be located on private property. You can't put it on public property. So I'm saying delete or on private property and replace with the word and. So it says such signs must be located entirely on the property to which they pertain and with the consent of the property owner.
yeah, I think that's fine. Okay.
The next thing, only thing changing the numbers would be 804.98.
Yeah, I got that.
And I'm okay with everything down to, I was just curious on 805.13, this is a question, non-residential uses for signs with permits. Said they can be no larger than 8 feet, so that's going to be a roughly 3x3 sign or 4x2 or whatever shall not exceed 8 feet in height. 8 feet's a pretty tall sign. I was just curious why it's so tall.
I have absolutely no idea. It's a great question.
I was throwing out, why couldn't it be 6 feet or 4 feet?
If we want to change it, it's fine. I mean,
But I'm okay with 8 feet. I just had,
I don't really know if we get any non-residential uses
I don't think you do, Greg.
in R1, R2, or R3.
Just leave it where it is.
Okay. Should we see something like that start to appear, we can certainly come back together.
And the only other thing I have, and then y'all can take your shots, is on 805.27.1, this new paragraph we're creating on banners. It's just a little worded a little awkwardly to me. When a parcel has more than one road, one banner shall be allowed on each road, no more than 2 times. How about just saying, delete the whole first line,
Okay?
so it reads, one banner per lot frontage, insert per lot frontage, shall be allowed no more than 2, because the second sentence deals with the double frontage. So the first sentence should just deal with single frontage. One banner per lot frontage shall be allowed no more than 2 times per calendar year for a maximum duration of 30 days each time. Where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one banner, delete per lot frontage, one banner shall be allowed on each road. It just kind of makes it
Okay.
consistent with the language we had earlier about other signs.
So we've got one banner
Per lot frontage.
per lot frontage shall be allowed on
No,
each,
delete on each road,
shall be allowed
no more.
no more than 2 times per calendar year for a maximum duration of 30 days each time. Where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one banner shall,
Delete per lot frontage.
yes, one banner shall be allowed
Insert on each road.
on each road. Okay, can I
Period.
read it one more time?
Sure.
Okay. One banner per lot frontage shall be allowed no more than 2 times per calendar year for a maximum duration of 30 days each time. Where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one banner shall be allowed on each road.
Sorry to dominate the conversation, but that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
To be technical, it's allowed on the road, should that be on each parcel? It's not only on the road, it's going to be,
On each,
One banner is allowed per,
one banner.
on each road that it
Shall be
faces, where it
allowed.
faces more than one road.
facing the road.
Yeah.
On each frontage?
Well, it's on each road. I think that's what we said in the other one. I was trying to be
Yeah,
consistent.
what did it?
Each road upon which it runs.
The other one says one such sign shall be allowed on each road.
On each
Where,
road, yeah.
where it has frontage on more than one road, one sign is allowed on each road.
It's not going to be on the road,
Shall be allowed,
on the frontage of each road. It's not on the road.
one such sign per lot frontage shall be allowed where parcel. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You could, you could use that per lot frontage, because it's not really referring to how close it is to the road, it's just saying on this side you can have this many. So maybe we take out, it says in the first sentence, one banner per lot frontage.
Yep.
So we could say shall be allowed per lot frontage on each lot frontage. And then we could go back and change that in the other one too,
Yep. That's fine.
which was
Yep.
section
It's 804.96.
409.95? 5.
No, 5, you're right.
So
804.
only one such sign shall be allowed per lot frontage where a parcel has frontage on more than one road. One such sign shall be allowed on each lot frontage?
I guess we're talking about 2 lot frontages, I guess. Yeah.
One shall be allowed per lot frontage where a parcel has frontage on more than one.
I kind of like this, it says, how about one such sign shall be allowed for each road? Instead of owned road, it's for each road.
Yeah, 4 is fine.
But I still think that each frontage sounds like more than one lot to me.
No, I mean, that, I wouldn't,
Well, lot
it's, they're
frontage is-
talking about one parcel. Yeah, so I don't think we need to specify the subject, because they, yeah.
And lot frontage is a defined term too.
Yeah.
Sally, I don't have the definitions with me.
Shall be allowed for each road. So then going back to 805.27.1, where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one banner shall be allowed for each road?
For each road. Because we're saying they have more than one road,
Yeah.
so they can get one banner for each road.
That they front on,
That, yes.
right? Okay.
Dan?
Sorry to dominate,
No?
but I'm done.
Hey,
I'm done.
I appreciate it. Sally, you got any additions, corrections that Van didn't cover?
Sorry, folks.
Julie?
It's an affliction, it's a curse.
Do we have a
Too many
motion?
years of doing this, right?
I'm sorry.
Can I, before you guys move, can I just read through what you guys have changed in this copy?
Sure.
And then you guys can motion to approve all of it at once, because I know we jumped around a little bit.
Except the section on flags, which
We're
you're
gonna
going-
come back to, yeah. I wanna look at that a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so in definitions, we're moving other temporary sign under signs and calling it sign, comma, other temporary.
So all we're doing is changing the title.
Right, and moving it under
Yep, S's.
sign,
Yeah.
right, under the S's.
Right.
802.2. I'm not gonna go over the ones, I'm just gonna do what we did today. Yeah, yeah. Page 14, 802.2 is gonna read, any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way or projecting over into a street right-of-way, except for one house number and/or nameplate shall be permissible for each dwelling, subject to section 802.1. Then 802.
Very, very minor, but
Yes,
I suggest a comma after in a street right of way.
sign located in a street right-of-way, comma,
Or projecting
over into a street right-of-way, except for
And you could
that.
put a comma, you could put a comma after right of way to kind of break up that very long sentence.
Okay. So any ground-mounted sign located in a street right-of-way, comma, or projecting over into a street right-of-way, comma, except for one house number and/or nameplate shall be permissible for each dwelling, subject to section 802.1. Okay? 802.7, after utility poles, in parentheses, adding except as permitted in section 807. And then in the next sentence, honorarium signs meeting the requirements of adding section 805.25.
Wait.
Adding section in front of
Where
805.25
have you got 805.25?
in
Oh, I see, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry.
still in
Gotcha,
802.7.
gotcha.
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
all the way at the end of the
Nope,
sentence,
nope, nope.
sorry.
No, now we're going to the end of the sentence.
Gotcha.
Adding, so 802.7 in the second sentence, we're adding section in front of 805.25. In the third sentence, we're adding section 804.68. Wait, 68? 6? A 6. Oh, that's an and, sorry.
And 804.7.
Yes, yes.
Sections. you're
Yeah,
right.
sections 804.6 and 804.7. All right?
Right.
Then going all the way to page 17, so 804.9, section 804.91, we're adding to the end of that, comma, and shall not exceed 3 feet in height, semicolon. And then 804.93, adding such at the beginning of the sentence. 804.94, there's an extra space after event. 804.95, adding only at the front of that section. Taking the S off of signs and adding shall be allowed. So it'll read, only one such sign shall be allowed per lot frontage, period. Where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one such sign shall be allowed for each road. Then we're, yep.
I would suggest put a comma after the word road, where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, comma.
Okay. Then we're deleting 804.96, and everything below that will get renumbered. The next one, such signs must be promptly removed if they become torn, comma, tattered, comma, or otherwise deteriorated. The next, which is 804.98, now 804.97, such signs must be located entirely on the property to which they pertain and with the consent of the property owner. And
Well, I'm, you know, you could even, what property to which they pertain, I guess. I mean, if there's a sign saying,
I think the way we had it was, such signs must be located entirely on the property to which they pertain and on private property with the consent of the property owner. That's right. I did not struck on private property.
why do we need private property on there?
I thought we had a conversation about public versus private.
we did, but I think it was one of the earlier sections. I think yeah.
Yeah, I thought owned private property was probably, it probably wouldn't be on public property. Signs should be must be located. I mean, you could just say such signs must be located entirely on private property with the consent of this property owner.
On the property to which they pertained.
I'm not
You
sure-
could say and be placed with the consent of the property owner.
Yeah, I'm not sure what, to which they pertain, a sign pertaining to a
Such
property.
signs shall be located. Yeah, actually, I see what you're saying.
It's like they belong to the, you're trying to say, they belong to the sign place belongs to the person or they, consent.
So then maybe I do agree that consent with the property owner should be in there.
I agree.
So maybe such signs shall be placed with the consent of the property owner of the property to which they pertain.
You should just say any sign located on private property must have the consent of the property owner.
Well, I wouldn't say just that. I mean, I think no matter if you're placing it on public or private property, like, you can't stick signs on the town's property without the town's approval. No, you can't. Yeah, they call me first. I thought about making wanted signs for my repeat offenders.
Properly, and you said, and placed only with the consent of the property owner.
Say that again, Julie, please.
Signs must be located entirely on the property and only placed with the consent of the property owner.
But it's saying own the property, and it's not modifying that in any way.
Why drop the to which they pertain?
Yeah, and I don't like that language, so I'm off of that. I'm just thinking if we need to modify it in any way, shape, or form.
So I see why this is in here, and I think it has to do with the ones that are like cookout here. You know, don't put it on your neighbor's property, put it on your property. So I almost think it's like, what if it's one of those if any? To shall be placed entirely on the property to which they pertain, if any, and shall have the consent of the property owner. So then that covers, if you want to put signs up saying, you know, what's the art thing? The art sale, whatever.
Pottery sale.
Yeah, yeah,
Made in
like
Montreat sign.
if you want to put up like, I'm having a cookout, everyone's invited throughout the town, and you're on the town's property, you still need to ask permission, even if it doesn't really pertain to the property. But I guess the way I kind of see this is you can't put like mystery signs up saying like, come inside, like on someone's property, you know? I don't know.
We're really dealing with two things. You're dealing with located entirely on the property and with the consent of that property owner.
Yeah, it's two pieces.
Yes, two parts. And I'm not sure which one is the really critical part.
I mean, I think it's both. If you're talking about a specific property, and again, we're touching on content-based here, you need to be on that property. If that's not relevant, you need to have, if it is relevant, you still need to have the consent of the property owner. If it's not relevant, you still need to have the consent of the property owner.
Yeah, you just can't go put a sign on the property.
Right.
Well,
And if you're putting a notice or you're putting a sign up about something specific, you know, that should be on the property that it's referring to, I guess, or maybe not.
But that isn't always going to work because,
Yeah.
you know, one on the corner that says barbecue 2 miles down.
Yeah. So then maybe the clearer part is such signs shall be placed with the consent of the property owner.
where did this language come from? I don't, because it starts off with property which are plain or on private property with the consent of the property owner.
I think this was proposed by, look at what's in there right now.
What we were trying
Yeah.
to, I'm trying to decide what issue we were trying to address with the language.
I think it's putting signs up everywhere, like wherever you want. So I would say that private property owner. Yeah, there's nothing in here now that talks about consent from the property owner.
And everything we're writing is just limited to other temporary signs.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any limitations like that on other signs?
Well, if you're pulling a permit, you have to either own the property or have consent from the property owner. So that's a given, just to pull a permit. Let's see. 804, these are signs allowed without a permit. So, okay, so we have 804.4, confined to the site of construction. 804.3, signs shall be located entirely on the property to which they pertain.
Yeah, that's where that language comes in.
Temporary signs, temporary real estate signs, specific, located on said property. Yeah, so I guess we do have those in there, but again, I think we're getting into that kind of content-based thing here. Election signs shall with the permission of the property owner.
Well, maybe we should just leave it the way it was.
Would you say, Dan?
Maybe we should just leave it the way it was on, shall be located entirely on the property to which they pertain
And with the consent.
and with the consent of the property owner.
And shall have the consent. Well, that's either one.
I mean, I'm still not sure exactly what to which they pertain means. If it's a
Yeah, I
sign
don't-
saying support Ukraine, for example, we keep using that example, but if you're going to have a sign saying support Ukraine, that doesn't pertain to any property.
Can I
Yeah.
first sentence has got to be the third line. You got to put it up 60 days before. Does that mean I can't put it up 54 days before? I got to put it up. So should that say no more than 60 days?
Wait, Bill. Let's not jump to another section yet, because we're still on this one. No, we're not, I don't think we're done with this one yet.
But, back to that, what he was referring to, well, I think it's still 804.8, signs shall, the first sentence sounds good, signs shall with the permission of the property owner. So maybe if we just flipped that sentence, we could make it sound.
Yeah, so maybe such signs
Must.
shall be allowed,
Must.
such signs must have the permission of the property owner?
Well, no, just what it says, signs shall, comma, with the
Permission
permission
of
of
the property owner.
comma, and then address the rest of it about
Must be located on
what else it says.
Which one are you on now?
She's just using the
She's telling
language.
The last one.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I follow you,
Signs.
I follow you.
Such signs shall, with the permission of the property owner,
We are addressing, because it sounds good.
be located. I don't know, I'd take out I guess now thinking about it more, I would take out located entirely on the property to which they pertain. But I think the consent of the property owner is critical.
So it should, I mean,
Yeah, but, well, I think it should be the only thing in there. Yeah.
So what are you proposing for the wording to be then?
Well, I think such signs must have, such signs
Must have permission of the property owner.
shall be placed, must be placed with the consent of the property owner.
Must have permission of the property owner of the property on which it is located, yeah.
I said, wait, sorry. Such signs must be placed, such signs shall be placed, can someone just?
signs shall with the permission of the property owner, comma.
I think we're putting must in place of shall, though.
So, must instead of shall?
Yep.
Such signs.
Well, that's where it says must be located.
But
Which-
is it really such signs may only be placed with the consent of the property owner?
Yeah, I don't think you should be putting signs on someone's property you didn't get
Right.
approval for.
So it's, I think the must and the shall are tripping us up, but we're dropping the whole thing about located entirely on the property because we think we're covered by under right-of-way restrictions and things like that, and the setback. Then really, we're just trying to say, you have to get the consent of the property owner. We're ignoring whether it's public or private, because either way, whoever owns it. So I know it's not using must, but can we say such signs may only be placed with consent of the property owner?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Not going to go back to the 418.
Let me read it once more. Okay. 804.9, wait, actually, Bill, can I just finish reading through can I just finish going through the changes that we've made so far? Okay. 804.97, such signs may only be placed with the consent of the property owner. Okay. So we're just going to we're going to move ahead and then we'll jump back, Bill, to 804.8. All right, 805.271. One banner per lot frontage shall be allowed no more than 2 times per calendar year for a maximum duration of 30 days each time. Where a parcel has frontage on more than one road, one banner shall be allowed for each road.
For each road, yeah.
And I think that was all of those changes. Can we, before we jump into another discussion, can we just vote to adopt, like, we're good with these changes, and then we can go back to 805.8? Because
Okay.
because while we were talking, I read through the minutes, and that's what didn't happen. We didn't adopt these last time. We only adopted the change in the definition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion we approve all the changes we've just discussed and
Change.
approved.
Motion.
Yeah.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, no.
Okay, all right, Bill?
Signs shall be permission property around the fire department more than 5 feet from the 60 days before and on the date of election. What about 58 days, no more than 60 days before?
And you may can delete "and on the date of the election."
Yes.
No.
I agree with that.
So that is no more than 60 days before the date of the election.
"And shall be removed within 5 days after." Yep, I like that.
5 days after said election.
I like that.
So we're saying, okay, adding no more in front of 60?
No more than, no more than.
No more than, and then crossing out and, nope, wait, no, yep, and crossing out and on the date of the
No,
election.
no, just cross out "and on."
Just take out and on. So it's no more than 60 days before the date.
Oh, okay, before the date, okay. So after roadway, comma, no more than 60 days before the date of the election, comma, and shall be blah. Good?
See,
Okay.
that's why we had you here. We needed that. Good catch.
I need
Good
somebody to
catch.
make a motion other than Bill.
I can't.
I know, that's why I said other than Bill.
I so moved.
Sally makes a motion, second.
Second.
Favor, aye. Aye. Let's have it. Okay,
Awesome.
thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, so we've got all those changes in here. I know that the flag conversation. I want to do some research on that before we continue that discussion. I think it'll be more productive than spinning in circles trying to read it while we're here. Is that all right with y'all?
I mean, we could leave it where it is if we want to shorten the process.
It's really up to you guys. If you want to leave that in here for now and maybe come back to it later, if you want to.
It just seems to me that my whole point of bringing it up in the first place was by saying this definition shall not include. I just did not like a definition of a word is a definition of a word, and then to say, well, it includes this, but no, we're going to exclude it, and by excluding it, you exclude it from any regulation, rules, control, or anything. It just seems to me it's a better way to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. And I was saying to put it into section where it's not.
Well, here's
Regulated.
here's a suggestion. Now that we've gotten through those two sets of changes, what if we took that sentence and put it under 803, which is exempt signs, and had it be 803.5? Flag, badge, or insignia of any governmental unit?
You're saying I was making it a sign without a permit, but you're saying making it an exempt sign.
It could be without a permit, it could be exempt. I
Well,
mean, again, and the reason I think I'd be more inclined to put it under exempt is because, I mean, I think touching on flags for me is like very sensitive because it feels very like First Amendment, you know? And I know with sign ordinances, you're always kind of balancing between freedom of speech and expression and, you know, but I could also see you don't want like 100 square foot American flag.
That's why
Yeah.
I think you're still allowing First Amendment, and even in all the Supreme Court rules, you can still control time and place and size and duration and all that kind of stuff. And that's why I think by making it either exempt or by excluding it from the definition, you could have the 100-foot sign or a 100-foot flag or 100 individual flags.
Right.
I think I don't know why I say this, but I'm more concerned about the size than the number. Like, I agree, like, with
think they're 3 by 2. The standard flag you see on people's porches are around 3 by 2, which is 6, so I made it 8 just to make sure.
What I don't know is there are larger, I have seen larger flags, like particularly people who have flagpoles. Like I think off of
Yeah.
your house, I think that's probably standard size. I think they're larger sizes than. I know, it's like.
That's 50 feet long.
Yeah.
so-
So that's the reason why I want to look at what other people are doing, because we have other temporary signs, and it doesn't really sound like it fits under there.
Yeah, that's where they're limiting it.
So,
Some people
yeah.
want to have a state flag and an American flag, and if we're limited to one flag, the other temporary is going to catch that.
So is I know that you're still saying you want to do some research, but
Yeah.
if we can agree to the concepts that we think, that would provide Kayla some guidance as to what we're hoping you're going to find examples of.
Yeah, I mean, I truly don't know if people are calling out flags as a sign without a permit. I don't know. So I just want to see what's out there before y'all decide anything. Because yeah, this is just something I'm not sure about. And I know that we really want to get this done, but I also don't want to move forward with something that is potentially like thumbs down, you know?
That's fine, I'm fine with that.
But I hear what you're saying though, Dan, and I do agree. I think if it's a definition, it shouldn't be what it's not. Like, why, that doesn't make sense. But we don't want to inadvertently, like, prohibit the American flag, you know? So yeah, I would just like to look into that a little bit and maybe just do a little bit of research on that specific piece.
Yeah, and a selfish personal situation I have, which occurred to me as I was talking about this, we have a son-in-law who's from Denmark, and his family comes to visit us usually at least once a year, and one of them's the in-laws is from Scotland, and we put out 3 flags every time they come. So we have an American flag, a Danish flag, and a Scottish flag, all the same size hanging on the front of our house. Well, you know, I hope we can continue to do that. It's only done for like 4 days, but still, I think people should have the right to fly those kind of flags, and I'm not trying to limit
Right, but
that.
then the 50-foot.
Yeah, but I don't want to have a 50-foot or
Right.
50 flags across the front of somebody's house. Might be a little much, but
Right. So I want to look into how that's regulated, and I don't know, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I do want to at least have some options to look at.
Does that mean we need to look at
sounds like.
We need to move a motion to approve the changes we made
I
today.
think we already did.
You guys already did.
We did that.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, I
With the
got,
exception of,
And the new meetings, future meetings should be a very brief one, I would assume, just to that one point.
we end today, I do want to talk about like the text amendment process with you guys, just so we understand like what would be the next steps, or I can save that to next time.
What has to, whatever we do is the subcommittee has to go back to the full committee before it goes to the council, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be we've got to do an application, so be like from the chairman for a text amendment, because it would have a case number, it would be advertised, it has its own folder. Yeah, there's like an administrative process with it, so. Yeah,
that
John,
would be our recommendation.
it would go, yep, planning and zoning, and then to
And then planning and zoning would have to approve it and pass it on to council.
recommend
Subcommittee would
approval, yeah.
recommend full council, full commission, which will recommend that, or make an application to council.
Wait, sorry, what?
The subcommittee will make a recommendation to the full P and Z.
Yeah.
Full P and Z, if it adopts and approves it, will then do a text amendment application to the council.
We
Yeah.
don't do that in our committee.
Yeah,
And we don't,
We don't do that, they do.
yeah.
We do,
P
they.
and Z will do that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so that's why I said it would be probably the chairman on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Once you guys have decided to proceed with,
Once a full P and Z is.
once the full P and Z has decided to proceed with a text amendment application, yeah.
Okay.
And we can probably do that all at one meeting. Like, I'll just say like tentative application or something, and then you guys can just, yeah.
Let's get, you probably ought to have the entire planning and zoning, get copies of it sufficiently, that time. Because we're not having to postpone it, to send it back to you all.
When's the next P and Z meeting?
We were talking about that, it's gonna be sometime in April. I know it's the third week in April.
Right now it's scheduled, I've got on my calendar for the 25th.
So I wanted to talk to you guys about that. So I know that we've talked about this before with changing the meetings with the bylaws, right? That the bylaws don't have a provision for changing meeting dates. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care, but I also am just informing you all about what's in the bylaws. So if you guys decide to change the meeting date, I'm not going to fight you on it, but I do just want you guys to know that the bylaws don't have a provision once you've adopted your schedule to change the dates.
But I think the chairman
I don't,
recommend that we change the meeting date and see if anyone objects. I think that's the first thing that you should allow. We're going to be Paul's out, and I'm not going to.
When is it? We need our chair here. And I think just under general rules of, probably just under general North Carolina law, if it doesn't say this is where you have to change it, I think you just give proper notice.
As long as we
advance
give 2
notice.
weeks' notice,
Yeah.
is what's required.
Advance
well,
notice.
it's a week in advance, but yeah.
Oh, it's
That's
not-
what the state,
Yeah,
I
give-
mean, yeah.
So right now it's scheduled for the 25th of April, correct? The next full meeting.
No, I think it's,
I've got it on my calendar, I was
that's
just
what I
looking.
think it is too.
Thursday the 17th.
I've got Thursday the 20th. What did the bylaws say right now? I can't even remember.
Wait, hang on. Asking me like 3 different questions. Wait.
That's the third.
No, yeah, it's April 25th
Is the meeting?
is the scheduled
That's what I have
meeting.
right now.
No,
No, that's
the Thursday,
That's the fourth Thursday,
I'm looking, this is April
25th.
25th.
This is a Friday.
25th.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
25th,
So you said the 25th.
25th.
I don't have it on me. That's fine. We'll be back. Oh, yeah, it's the 25th.
Maybe we already scheduled it because we knew yours.
I
the
think
last
we
meeting.
did when you
I
guys
think we changed it
We
last
adopted.
changed it because of you.
You guys
Yeah.
adopted the schedule and it,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I think we adopted the schedule for the meeting that day.
And that's at what time?
10:30,
10.
10:30 on the Thursday the 25th is the way I've got it. I think it's all done. I think we're good.
Vision and
Yeah.
first of the year.
Do we need to set a date for our next meeting?
Yeah.
Set a committee up.
So I have kind of a very crazy month. I have to go out of town for 4 days for a training.
I'm
So,
going to be out of pocket for at least 2 weeks.
when?
Starting next Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're looking at 1st of April probably.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask if we could meet maybe towards maybe the last week in April. Just because, like I said, I've got,
Not the last week in April, because we want to meet before P and Z meets
25th.
on the 25th.
if we can meet,
Maybe the week of the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th.
so I advertise on the 18th for P and Z, so everything becomes public then. Is that enough, if I send, and that's when you guys get your packets and everything, is a week before. Is that enough time, is the 18th enough time, do you think, for the rest of the P and Z to review?
But when are we going to meet? This committee has to meet.
Well, I
again.
know, I'm asking,
She's back up with that.
I'm going backwards. So
Oh.
if the next P and Z meeting is the 25th of April, the 18th, I have to have everything. So packets need to be done, meaning this needs to be finished.
Right.
Now, but here's my question though. Normally I send you guys packets on the 18th. Do you think that the rest of the board needs the packets more than a week in advance?
You know, when you really get down, I think they don't need anymore, personally. I mean, no one can disagree. We've spent a lot of time on this and gone through it, but when you really look at the changes, I mean, if you were to print out a red line version right now, I don't think there's that much red line.
We've had so much back and forth.
Yes,
That
yeah.
I think it feels bigger to us.
It really was.
Yeah, there's been so
Exactly.
many derivations.
Okay.
I agree.
So then, if that's the case, if we feel that the 18th is sufficient, that sending packets on the 18th is sufficient, then we could look at April 17th, 10th, or 11th. Those would be the 3 dates that we could meet.
April 10th, 11th, or 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with the 10th.
Let me just double check one thing. 10, 11, yeah. So any of those 3 days.
Morning or afternoon?
30 is where we've usually met.
The 10th, anytime during the day, the 11th, anytime during the day, and the 17th, anytime after 9:30.
I would be good with the 10th at 10:30 if we're going to start chronological order.
Sally, how does that work for you on the 10th?
10th, Wednesday, the 10th at 10:30.
I do a volunteer thing on Wednesdays.
Okay, how about the 11th?
How about Thursday?
At 10:30?
That works better for me, too.
All right. That should work. If we can't get in this room, we'll go in the large conference room. And I will look at flags before then
Okay.
and send you guys something. I think that's it.
Okay. Any public comment from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion that we adjourn? That was very peaceful. Oh, thank you. Thank you, dear.
They normally are.
Yeah.
We don't
Have a motion?
too much.
Sally moved that we adjourn. Second? Have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. No, we appreciate your comments.
Yeah. My pleasure. Huh? I know.
Thank you, Kayla.
Huh?
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Everybody's good work.
It's great that, well, I wonder how many we've spent.
Y'all have had 2 with me. I don't know. Who else? John, I'll need to get your signature, but I have to fix this page with that number so I'll do it next time. Good job, everybody. Wait, are you writing this on multiple? No one argues in my meetings. Because everyone's scared of me, it's fine.